Hello and welcome to a Kitcar short on the Autobarn Gecko. Now, let's go back to the time. It was the early 80s, from about the 1970s, early 1970s. After the Moke had gone out of production, the Kitcar industry kind of stepped in. I think one of the earliest and still the most famous is the Scamp, for example. But by the mid-80s, there was quite a few of these cars, and it made a lot of sense because it was a car that the family could use. It had cheap running gear. It was also fun, and it brought back the spirit of the Moke, which was still popular in people's memories from the 60s, and The Prisoner, and series like that was still being repeated on TV. Now, the Gecko, for me, always stuck in my mind for various reasons. It was never a huge seller, but what set it apart for me is, although you couldn't call it beautiful, it certainly looked professionally styled, and it definitely looked different to some of the other Moke-type vehicles, and I rather liked it. Now, the design was by a gentleman called David Simmons, and Autobarn, his company, operated in Altrincham in Cheshire. The GRP was done by Ingram's, which is one of the best GRP companies in the industry at the time. They did cars, like their own car was the Domino Pimlico, which is absolutely fantastic, definitely worth another story. But coming back to the Gecko, there wasn't a huge amount of GRP, to be fair. It was basically the bonnet was the GRP. Mini subframes, front and rear, a very sturdy steel frame, and the Ingram bonnet on top. And it's a short little feature, this, and on a short little car. It was exactly the kind of rugged thing you'd expect from a Moke-type vehicle, and quite capable by all accounts, and still a few of them knocking around with very proud owners. And I'd love to hear from someone who'd be willing to let us go and do a feature on it. But anyway, the Autobarn Gecko, produced in Altrincham, David Simmons the designer, Ingram's did the GRP for the bonnet. Very simple, practical. It was of its era, and I think, would it still work today? Why don't you leave us a comment? And also, by all means, give us a suggestion of one of the cars you'd like to see. And if you've enjoyed this video, short though it is, why don't you click on the thumbs up, let people know that there's something interesting here, and why don't you hit the bell and subscribe and hit on all whilst you're at it, because then you'll be informed when a new video lands. And if this little series proves popular, we're obviously going to keep doing them. And so far they have been very popular, and we thank you for all the response to them. Anyway, do check out the other videos on the channel. I'm sure there's something for everybody in automotive world. And until the next time, I fare thee goodbye.